Hello, today I'm going to talk about the game Minion Hunter from GDW, or Game Designers Workshop. It's a board game from the Dark Conspiracy world, where the Dark Conspiracy is a RPG game, and this is a board game that captures some of that. So it's based in the early 21st century, where there's been a Greater Depression, and because of that there's a lot of countries are isolated, but in the US there's kind of megaplexes, which are large cities, but beyond the cities there's kind of outlaw areas where it's not maintained. There's not much law, of course. And then there's also this demon area where these minions are being created. So it's kind of a horror, kind of futuristic, kind of RPG universe based. But this is a board game that captures that. So obviously the Minion Hunters are those that hunt the minions, as would be implied. It's from the universe of Lester Smith from Dark Conspiracy. Mine's a little bit worn, but it's a fairly big box. And the art is quite impressive. Shell Moore from 1991 did the cover art here. The show looks like kind of the outland kind of areas. You got your minions coming in here. Very impressive original artwork. Quite incredible detail, especially like if you look in the detail of the landscape here. So on the rules also, they contain a fair amount of background. But the back gives a pretty description. Warriors against the dark and horrific future world. It's very near future. Americans are under siege by creatures of evil, creatures that feast on human suffering. Their minions spawn humanity's darkest myths. It's stories of blood drinkers, flesh eaters, shape changers, and soul stealers. Legends speak of them as vampires, zombies, ogres, ghosts, and ghouls. But the reality is far worse than had been imagined. Now they haunt a ravaged nation, stalking its lonely city streets, prowling its ruined countrysides, striving always to drive humanity to madness and despair. But sometimes the hunters become the hunted. Sometimes the prey stands up and fights back. Even in these dark times, there are individuals who uncover the plots behind the nation, slide into ruin, and work against them. In Minion Hunter, you become one of those individuals. While dark minions pursue their evil plots, you train your mental, physical, and psychic abilities for battle, collecting equipment and contacts along the way. Then when a dark encounter alerts you to the nation's peril, you work with your fellow hunters to root out and destroy the dark minions' plots. The best among you will become the most famous minion hunter, but you have to act quickly or the minions will complete their plots and the country will fall completely under their shadow. 1 to 6 players, 12 and up. So as far as the components, first there's like a advertisement for the Dark Conspiracy universe and how the map of the game fits into that. It's rulebook 8 pages, black and white. Then there's an insert that's got some more optional rules that'll make it as I say, a grimmer game. It's got paper money. Unfortunately you have to cut it out of these sheets. It'd be nice if it was like Monopoly type money where you have to cut it out. There's a fair quantity of money. Unique denominations from 5 all the way up to 10,000. You get money to spend on equipment and travel. Some dice, 6-sided and 10-sided. And 6-sided is for movement around the career track. 10-sided is for determining success or failure, tests of character's attributes, and most encounter rules. So each character maintains a character sheet, and it's got a pad of them. And then when you exhaust the pad, it's got this sheet where you can copy and print them off. But basically you have your name and then you have your attributes of empathy, stalking, combat, and contacts. Cards, there's the plot cards and the equipment cards. Show a few examples here. So the plot cards, to see your escape, fight, say it compares it for the different attributes. It's easy versus that. Average versus contacts in this case, easy versus empathy, average versus empathy. So it shows you what levels and attributes to look at here. And locations. Here we have like it's Cobra People and Haunt. Gives us some pretty good flavor there. Equipment. So different types, knife, cat's eye night vision, Kevlar vest. Modifiers to, in this case, combat or stalking or combat. How they're used, their value and your turn-in value. Here's the pawns. They're not really, you know, like well, they're not minifigures, but I quite like how they did it. It gives you kind of a nice display. Unique art. Two-sided. And there's player aid sheet. That shows the various encounter charts. Demon ground encounters, outlaw encounters, hospital encounters, portal dimension encounters, attribute test difficulty levels, public transportation. So these are D10 rolls. So here's the board. Nice folding mounted board. I quite like how it's presented. It just kind of gives like a kind of a classic feel to it, in my opinion. So you have the US course. So you have your metroplexes, the outlaw area, and demon ground. And of course these are as you'd locate your characters. So on the edge of the board is where they track their careers. It's called the career track. In the map, these are the travel routes between metroplexes where the Dark Minion plots are being hatched. If a character is injured, it moves along the hospital track or recovering. Then there's the plot card track, in which the plot cards move, and the plot points track, keeping track of the store of total plot points achieved by the minion races. Then you see along the edge here, you have a different example. You might draw to equipment or check versus attributes and different options if you succeed or fail, contacts, encounters. Game turns. Each game turn Minion Hunter consists of 2 smaller turns, player turn followed by a plot card turn. During the player turn, a single player performs actions for his or her character. During the plot card turn, a plot card advances along the plot card's track. Player turn, exactly what actions the player performs depends upon which portion of the game board that player's own pawn occupies at the beginning of the turn. After movement has been completed and any resulting effects have been resolved, the player's turn ends. First turn, in each player's first turn player, the player's pawn actually begins the turn off the board. To start, then the player chooses one of the 4 corner spaces of the career track and places his or her pawn there. These 4 corners represent the basic skills of the 4 different types of careers: empathic, street, corporate, and security. And in the game, play continues until one of the 4 minion races pawns reaches 20 points or more on the plot points track, or the very last plot card discarded, whichever happens first. If one of the minion races achieves 20 points or more on the plot points track, that race has taken over the nation and all the players lose. If the last plot card is discarded and none of the minion races has achieved at least 20 points, the players all win the game. If the players win, the player whose character is the most famous Minion Hunter achieves the best win. To determine which character is most famous, players add up the number of points worth of plot cards their character is defeated. For setup, I'm going to be doing 2 players. Who's ever in charge of the plot points track takes 4 minion races. Faye, Et, Nukud, and Mordok here. Set them off to the side. And then the plot points card, take 12 of them out, just randomly, of the shuffled ones, and you place the remaining ones on the plot card track on the appropriate location. Since I'm doing 2 players, of course, I'll start it here on the 1-2 player start. Shuffle equipment cards, set them off to the side, face down. Character sheet for each. I'm just going to call them Mr. Green and Miss Blue. And give 1 point for each of the attributes in each of them. 2 goes first. Mr. Green, Miss Blue. Miss Blue goes first. Then we'll get in the first turn. So Miss Blue goes first. She'll start in the corporate training. Then the attribute adjustments are +2 stalking, +1 contact, -1 empathy. And I'll indicate it's corporate here, that way you can do those adjustments. So in addition to the attribute modifiers, for corporate training, she also gets to draw 1 equipment. So she'll do that. It's a Suzuki Sparrow transport, value of $950, turn in 95. So they don't start off with any money, so she doesn't have the $950 to buy that. But she will turn it in and get the $95. then roll. 4. She can go clockwise or counterclockwise. She goes here, she'll get a +1 contact, so she'll do that. And increase her contact value. Then plot turn. Move the plot card over. So on the back it shows where the plots are happening, and they'll want to get to these spots to stop the plots, because when it gets to the end, if they don't, the minions might get some plot points. And then we go to green. Mr. Green. He's going to go in street training, which is +2 contacts, +1 stalking, or exit to the map. So I'll indicate here that he's doing the street. Roll. 5. So if he goes 5 here, he can draw 1 equipment, or if he goes here, gets a dark encounter, he'll draw equipment. Grenade launcher, value 550. He doesn't have money for that, but he can turn it in for 55, so we'll get $55. Keep his money over here. Then the plot card moves. Again, they're not on the board to stop that yet. Miss Blue goes. 6. So Windfall, she can get some money here, or Street Fight, so she wants to get the money. So it's easy versus contacts, and she does have she's got 2 contacts, and then she also gets the +1 contact for corporate training, so she's up to 3. And then for easy contacts, you double that, and then you have to get that or lower, so that would be 6. If she succeeds, she gets $50,000. If she fails, she loses a contact. And she succeeds. Gets $50,000. It's kind of like hidden Monopoly there. So she now has $50,095. And then the plot card moves, and now it discards. You flip it over, and the Fey folk are going to advance 2 because they weren't able to stop them in time. So the Fey are going to move 2 points on the plot track. I'll set them on the side here so we can look at them. Discard that. You have to discard it. You set another one there, so there's always 2. Mr. Green goes. 3. Either do a meat fence or dark encounter. He'll do that because he wants to try to stop the minions from getting more plot points. So he'll move to either plot card Metroplex, so Chattalanta or Seacouver. I assume Chattalanta is kind of the grouping of Chattanooga and Atlanta, and of course Seacouver is Seattle and Vancouver. He'll go to Chattalanta. Go there. Go to Chattalanta. Seaborg Chainling. It's just a minor plot, it's only for fame. Escape, difficult versus combat. Fight, easy versus contacts. He's got +2 contacts, so that's good. So he's got the 2 +3. And since it's easy, you double that. So 6 or less. 10. So unfortunately he failed that. So if he would have succeeded, he would have stopped that minor plot and got fame, but he failed, so he goes to intensive care. And he loses 1 equipment card as well, but he didn't have any to lose, so he won't lose 1. Then move the plot cards. This one stays up. And then Miss Blue goes. And she's got a lot of money now. 5. So the psychic test facility. Empathy 0, no effect. 4+, you can gain empathy. Or move to either plot card Metroplexes, and they want to stop them from getting points. So doesn't have good empathy, so she's got an EMP of 0, so this one would have no effect anyway. Because she's a corporate with 1 and then -1 empathy, So as far as going here, since this one's a minor plot, it's not going to have any effect on the plot point track, so she's not going to worry about that one. She's gonna instead go to Seacouver in case that's a major plot. So she'll do that. See what the card is. This is a Morlocks. Some like time machine stuff going on there. So if that gets all the way, they'll get 3 points in their resource track. On their plot point track. Escape is average versus stalking. Fight is average versus combat. She's not great at combat. She doesn't have any weapons yet. And she doesn't have any bonuses. She'll give it a shot. Let's check her stalking though. She does have +2 stalking. So she doesn't want to go to intensive care. So she's going to do an average versus stalking, which means she has her 1 + 2 or 3. So she needs a 3 or less. She gets lucky and she survives. So she wasn't able to stop that plot from advancing, but she can stay in that spot. And the plot movement. So that one just comes to fruition. That won't have any effects on the plot points. And since that one moved off, I just want to keep 2 in play. So on Mr. Green's turn, he wants to advance in the hospital track, but first he's got to roll for a hospital encounter. So to 1, healing proceeds rapidly. 2, +1 empathy. 3, don't advance. 4, blood rate advance, but see the easy combat or roll, lose 1 contact. 5, moralic attack or no encounters. 1, empathetic nurse, healing proceeds rapidly. Advance. Then take another turn. Okay, that's good. 7. No encounters. He's about to get checked out. Moved along pretty well. Plot card movement. Move it along. So actually the Morlocks, they were in Las Vegas, not Seacouver, so she's in Las Vegas, where she succeeded at her escaping. But the other one's in Seacouver. She doesn't think she'll succeed at that one, but she's gonna move. She doesn't have any transport. So she can either move up on the map here, or she can move to one of the 4 tracks and start a different career, do the same one. She's gonna kind of move up here towards Seacouver. She can only move 1 Metroplex though, because she doesn't have any. Well, she actually could buy public transportation since she has some money, and she'll do that. So actually, she's going to take the train to Seacouver. It's $250 per Metroplex. You can go 3 of them. And he has +3 to outlaw and demon ground rolls. She goes through. If she goes through Reno, she only has to make 1 roll for an outlaw area. She'll do that. So it's 500 total. Go to Reno, and then she's going through the outlaw, so she has to roll for an encounter there. But again, it's a +3 to the roll, and higher are more favorable. 2, +3, 5. Attacked by eco-terrorist missile, all movement, vehicle destroyed. If on foot, go to intensive care, so she's got to stop there, but she was on a vehicle, so she doesn't have to go intensive care. But then the Morlocks advance in the plot track. Now they have 3 points. And then set 1 down. So he's got to see if he gets out of the hospital. He's got to do a hospital encounter. Healing proceeds rapidly, so he's good. Now he can go into any. You can either go into any corner, training location, or he can go to any Metroplex. And he needs some equipment, so he's going to go over here because he's going to go into corporate training now, and I'll indicate that, which will be +2 stalking, +1 contact, -1 empathy, and draw 1 equipment. So the equipment is a Kevlar helmet. Its value is 50, turn-in is 5. And it turns out he is $55, so we can buy that. He's got 5 left. So now he has that, which provides +1 combat, which is good. 4, you can move to either plot card Metroplex, which is good. So maybe he's got, you know, at least some possibility of combat there since he's got a helmet. He'll go to Seacouver. See what that is. It's a Demon Ground. Roll for Demon Ground encounter on Charter. 5. Attacked by ET Death Ray, halt movement. Vehicle destroyed. If on foot, go to intensive care. Bad luck for him. He didn't have a vehicle though. Plot card moves. And also, he loses 1 equipment card too, so he just lost that helmet he got. Miss Blue goes. And since she's in a outlaw and she can only go on foot, she can't take the train or fly. So she'll just, and she can only move 1 Metroplex, so she'll go up to Seacouver. Plot card moves. And then green, he's in hospital track still. There's an encounter. Hospital encounter. No encounter advanced normally. Plot card. Miss Blue. So she has the option of moving off to corporate, off to the career training, and she'll do that. She'll go back here again. She wants to stay in corporate training because she'll get to draw 1 equipment. Ramtech Assault Armor. Value 1200, turn in 120. It's +3 combat but -1 stalking. She can easily afford that. So now she's got some armor. So plot, it advances. Fey Folk, advance 3. So they're up to 5 points now. I'm going to put that one down. So now we have Texamoros in New Orleans. He's going to see if he advances in the hospital encounter. 7. Does advance. Plot card. 3. Move to either plot card Metroplex. She'll go to Texamoros. See what that plot is. It's only a minor plot. So escape is easy versus stalking versus difficult versus combat. And it's not going to prevent them from getting plot points, so she's not going to do it. She's just going to try to escape again. And easy versus stalking. So her stalking is, 1 + 2 or 3. Double that for easy. She succeeds, but she has to stop there. Plot advances. It happens. Another one goes off here. So plot New Orleans. Now see if blue comes off. He does. And he can either go to any Metroplex or he can just go to a corporate site. It's a training site. But he's got to try to keep them from advancing, and he has low combat, but still he'll go to New Orleans. The new kids. So it's difficult versus empathy for fight or easy versus stalking for escape. And unfortunately he's got 0 empathy because he's got 1 but -1 for corporate, so he's 0. The only thing he can try to do is escape. His stalking is good. He's got 1 + 2 or 3, double that for 6. He makes it. but he has to stop there this turn. And then it advances. So that's Minion Hunter from GDW, 1992. It's a board game from the Dark Conspiracy RPG universe. Quite liked it. Seems quite a bit ahead of its time. It's got, like how it captures attributes. You have a lot of strategy you have to think about as far as, are you going to go on the board? Are you going to build up your abilities as you go around the career track? What career track are you going to use? Are you going to fight or escape? Are you going to try to buy weapons? I like that you can play it solitaire as well, or multiplayer. Definitely recommend it. It's unique enough that I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Minion Hunter from GDW 1992. Thanks a lot.